Alright, welcome back to Flight Sim 2024. Welcome to a nice, slightly cloudy, rainy early morning at Thornybush Game Lodge in South Africa. And welcome back to the High Performance Group H160, which you can see just in front of us. Our passengers are all loaded up and all of that, as you can see inside. And we're going to be taking a flight from here down to Pietermaritzburg and eventually on to the coast to Durban. But for today's flight, we're looking at about a 2-hour flight down to Pietermaritzburg from here at Thornybush. And we're going to be all the way up 10,500 feet. Full up with fuel, we're full up with passengers. So, pretty cool flight that we got planned ahead for us today. What I am going to do, which is a bit different to what I've done in previous videos in the 160, is I'm going to be going through all of the startup procedures manually. So a lot of the other videos we've started already in the helicopter with everything loaded up and everything running. Not today, we're going to be doing it all from scratch. So that's the plan for today. Okay, so batteries, generators, and DC GPU. So batteries are 1, 2, DC generator, generators and DC GPU. Cool, we check that we get power up test okay, which we do. Okay, then RA, FMS, and lamp tests are up here. RA, FMS, lamp test. Audio test is good. And lights are good. Okay. Then this is all fine for now. Let's get the rotor brake off before I forget. Okay, this is all fine. Fuel quantity. We shouldn't be at half. We should be full. Okay, so there we go, full fuel. And we've got our passengers and everything sorted, so that's good. Okay, cool. Lights are down here, so emergency exit lights on, signs on, anti-collision and position. Standby on our weather radar. And we have some lighting. Okay, cool. That's all done. Floats, wipers, and HTORs. Let's come down here. HTORs on. Floats, I guess we can go to auto. Wipers are not required at the moment. Okay, weather radar we've set to standby. The test doesn't seem to do anything. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but we go straight to standby. Right, we'll put in our flight plan shortly. Okay, this is to actually test the feel of your controls. So you turn the aux pump on up here, move all of the controls and see that they feel correct. Obviously, we don't get any force feedback or anything. So let's go to the next one. Right. We have the VMS page open. We're going to start engine 1 first. So we'll pop that into idle. We see start. And that should extinguish at 50% N1. Go. Now it goes to idle. Okay, then we'll do the same for engine 2. Into idle. Actually a bit of rain on the windshield now. Okay, now we'll see, something that used to happen in flights in 2020 all the time was the second engine that you start, the torque didn't go up. It would stay at like 7.5, 8, which seems to be happening here as well. So I'm not sure why that happens. I mean, I followed the steps, but yeah, it's doing the same thing. Once we pop it into flight, it'll be okay though. Okay, then we can come up here and put this into flight test. And we're missing here that we've got so many messages. Ah, these we can turn on. This can go on to auto. Okay, pre-flight test okay, so that's good. We can pop that back down. We can also turn on the emergency generator and switch off the GPU. Okay, that's all good then. And then 3 is taxi and takeoff. So we're going to take off to our left. Let's come down here and get our route set up. Okay, we're at Thorny Bush, that is correct, and we're going to Pietermaritzburg. Right, I have the route written down here on my phone. So we are direct to Umwelt. Direct to PKV, which is Kruger and Mpumalanga. So that one. Direct to Imkid. Then Movol. Jerax. Apmat. Greytown, GYV. That's it. From there, direct to Pietermaritzburg. So that'll be this one. Cool. That is sorted. Right, then all that's left is to pop these into flight. And we'll get out of here as it's actually starting to rain properly now. Yes, we want to take off to our left. These seem to have stabilized now, so that's good. Okay, QNH here is 1020. Like so. Set this to 200. Okay, then we're good to go. Alright, let's set this to our map. Actually, something kind of cool that I don't think I've shown before is you actually get a camera here. So we can see a bit of the stuff around us. What does this do? This is like resolution or something. Or looking underneath us. Anyway. Okay, clear left, clear right, so we'll get into the hover and then slowly turn our nose to the left and then take off in that direction. Just keep an eye out for the trees because we do have some obstacles around us. It's not very flat here in the parking at Thorny Bush, so that's why we kind of went backwards and at an angle like that. Oh, here's the tree I was talking about. So I guess at this point we'd actually be IFR. We wouldn't be able to fly this VFR, which was my first plan. Okay, so let's couple our FMS then and get onto that course. And we're going to climb up. We'll take it as if we're doing this IFR now, so we'll go up to 10,000 feet. Right, at this power setting, just under 4 hours of fuel on board. We're expecting this flight to take about 2 hours. Yeah, so let's go in here and do altitude acquire. So we'll dial this up to 10.
Alt A crossing. Alt A crossing.
It's quite loud. I suppose you kind of want it to be. Yeah, once I've got this set, we'll bump up our climb rate a little. Okay, so there we are, nicely established in the climb. Just over 100 knots at about 70% torque, which I've always found kind of strange. So this is at 70, but our torque there is sitting at 78, so I don't know, that's never really made sense to me. But anyway, we're sitting nicely on the torque. We're just about through 8,500 feet and kind of just skirting between these two sections of rain here, but we're going to hit it in front at some point. So all along the either side, these kind of walls of rain. I don't know, we might actually be above it by the time we get here into like the Pushback Ridge area. So we'll see, because yeah, we're coming up to 9,000. I don't know if 10,000 is enough to get over that weather. We'll keep an eye on that, but otherwise everything's all good. We're 8 minutes out from our first waypoint of Unvet, with about 3.5 hours of fuel on board at this power setting, and just over 100 knots currently. So just looking at Navigraph, that gives us a flight time of just over 2 hours, but we'll pick up to probably around 130 knots once we level off as well. So that flight time will come down quite a bit. Right, there we are, coming up to level off at 10,000 feet. Just going to use the trim to push the nose forward a bit so we now pick up speed. And again, I'm going to look to keep our torque around 70% over here on this tape. See, now it seems to match up a little better. Yeah, but we should be able to pick up speed significantly here. Coming up to 120 knots. It's quite windy out there, as you can see. We're crabbing slightly. Okay, 130 knots coming up. Thrown around a little bit. 140 knots and the power is starting to get, or our torque is starting to get a little high. So I'll probably keep it there around 140-ish knots. That looks pretty good. Still at 70. And our flight time is now dropped to 1 hour 50 minutes. It's 1 hour 50 minutes. So I think I'm just going to back off on the speed a little bit, just because it's getting a little choppy. Don't want to over torque by having to deal with some turbulence. Okay, 2 minutes out from Umwelt, we'll make our left-hand turn. And then it looks like we're going to be heading into the rain there. Can climb higher if we need. This aircraft can go up to 20,000 feet. So we might need to look at increasing our cruise altitude a bit if we want to get over this weather. Because right now we're going to be in those clouds. Sure why this isn't working. Okay, that's the weather radar. Is on. I'm not sure why that's not doing anything. Weather radar doesn't seem to be picking anything up at the moment. Looks like we're about to head into the clouds now. We should be seeing this on the weather radar. sure what this does. Some sort of radio. -9. Yeah, 10,000 feet. That might actually make icing a bit of an issue. So we'll just keep an eye on that for now. Passing the border of Kruger Park, so Kruger kind of does this, and so we are just passing the kind of western border at the bottom here. I do this, you'll see. So White River, we head down to Kruger and Mpumalanga. We're just staying just outside the park, which is off on that side where obviously we won't see. Aha, check, we are picking up icing. I don't think I've ever actually used the anti-icing, if it has on here. Seem like it has anything. I thought it did have anti-icing though. Yeah, we're definitely picking up ice. Let's see. Okay, so it's supposed to be here, so it seems like we don't have it. Interesting. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is climb, see if we can get above the icing. If we can get out of these clouds, we should be okay. So let's go to 16. Maximum is 20. It's actually getting quite bad now. Hoping these clouds are still kind of at the same level. as they were earlier. I really thought this helicopter had anti-ice systems. Obviously not. I actually deal with icing like this too often in South Africa, at least in my flight sim experience. Coming up to 12, so hopefully we should be breaking out of this soon. I wonder if the wipers will actually do anything. I don't think I've ever even used the wipers on this. Oh, which would probably be a bad idea in reality. There we go, we're getting to the tops of the clouds now. Back in the clouds again. It was looking like we were just about to break out. Okay, we're just on top now. Minus 15. It's going to take quite a while for this ice then to melt off. Okay, but there we go. We're out of the moisture, so that should help quite a lot. Hopefully this ice slowly starts to disappear. Down to only 80 knots. I'm a little slower then. Pick up the speed. Okay, at 16 we should be perfectly fine. At 16,000 feet, that is. It's actually quite windy. Look at that. What is that? 30 knots from the left. Sorry, from the right. Since it's still so cold, without like windshield heating and stuff like that, I think this ice is gonna stay with us for most of the trip. At least we shouldn't be building up any more. Hopefully there's nothing on the rotors, because obviously they're spinning so much. it is slowly disappearing. Starting to feel a little mushy up here. We are pretty heavy, so going all the way up to 16 I think is a lot, considering that we're basically full up on fuel and full up on passengers. We're going to stay at 100 knots. It's going to add a lot of flight time. We're going to level off shortly. Just over a minute. As we're just about to pass over Kruger and Mpumalanga Airport, which we won't be able to see because it's directly below us. Just a bit of a wind shift there, which caused us to over torque slightly. Oh, and we've also intercepted our 16,000 feet, so we'll be leveling off for now. We actually set this to standard. Okay, let's see what sort of speed we can get up to. So at 100 now. Once we level off properly, we can hopefully speed up a little bit, which looks like we should be able to. We're sitting at 6.5 on the torque, but that limit has come down as we've increased altitude, and maybe also because of the ice that we picked up. So it looks like we're going to be cruising just over 100 knots. And now that is indicated airspeed, which will be lower because the air's thinner up here. However, we're still looking at about 2 hours flight time now, so we are still overall going slower, but we kind of need to stay out of the clouds, so it is what it is. Ground speed 122. Still slowly picking up speed. 124 ground speed now. That ice is slowly disappearing. Okay, up to 132 ground speed. Kind of past the southern tip of Kruger now. Now the next question is there any high terrain along our route that's going to cause a major issue? Shouldn't be. No, we'll be fine. So this grid 8,600 minimum. The next one is 8.4. Then 7.7, 7.6, and 8.2. So we're fine. All of the really high ones, 13.6, 13.8, are all to the east. Cool. And even at 13.8, we're fine at 16,000. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do a bit of a time lapse from here as we cruise along for the next just under 2 hours, and I'll see you when we prep to descend into Pietermaritzburg. Okay, so we're just coming up to Greytown now. I think what I'm going to do is put in the arrival into Pietermaritzburg. The weather's not looking great, so we're going to take... in fact, let me just see which runway is going to be the best here. So we're going to be descending at about 700-800 feet a minute, so we're going to start that shortly. So if I look at Pietermaritzburg's weather, okay, so it's saying 40 at 10 knots. So it actually, to be honest, doesn't make all that much of a difference, so we'll do 16. So it does have an RNAV from STEX that is perfect. Okay, so after Great Town we go to STEX at 7,000. Oh, that works. So we'll come here and we'll dial this down to 7,000 feet, and then we'll start our descent at about 800 feet a minute. Go at 7,000. It does kind of shake a lot descending like this. I don't know if it's because we're too fast. Yeah, but anyway, we're into the descent now, so next waypoint is STEX, where we should be at least, well, we need to be at 7,000 by then. So we might actually need to drop a little quicker. So I believe when you're descending, you want to keep the torque above that blue line. So we can pick up the speed a little. But yeah, it is vibrating a lot, which I wouldn't expect from the most expensive passenger helicopter in the world. So I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Temperature minus 15, so we're gonna be picking up icing in the clouds again. So we'll keep an eye on that. coming through 12,800 now into the clouds. And expecting it to be pretty cloudy and a fair bit of rain once we get closer to the airport as well. Okay, at this power setting, which was still fairly low, we're still looking at over 2.5 hours of fuel. So we're just under halfway on our fuel, pretty much. QNH in Maritzburg 1015, so I'm going to set that now. Like so. It looks like we might actually head through a gap in the clouds here, which would be kind of cool because we would avoid all of the icing. 10 miles to STEX and just under 11,500 feet now. After STEX, nibble at 6,400. There's a rainbow up ahead, so it looks like we might escape the icing here by ending up underneath the clouds. We're still going to be in the rain. -9 degrees now, coming through 10,000 feet. 140 knots. Remember, I think this is Mid-Mar Dam that we come in over. Oh no, Albert Falls, okay. Mid-Mar is actually on the other side. Mid-Mar is actually over there. Okay, so this is Albert Falls that we'll come up to shortly. I don't know if we're actually going to see anything because of the rain. Coming up to 7,000 feet. Into the rain now. Okay, there we we go, Albert Falls, properly into the rain now. Okay, so next waypoint, Nibble at 6,400 feet. I want to bring the speed down quite a bit. It is maximum 180 knots, but we're not going to get anywhere close to that. Looks a bit weird. I don't know if that's supposed to be like hail or something. Normally you would hear it. Okay, speeds come down to just over 120. Do a nice gentle descent. Looks like we might be coming out of the rain here, actually. Okay, 5 miles, then we make our left-hand 90-degree turn. Looks like we've got a big patch of rain right over the city and over the airport. This airport's just in there somewhere, or here. So that could get interesting. next one 4920 feet. Once we start this turn, we can also start descending back into the rain. It looks like we're going to be solidly in the rain coming up to the airport. Indicated airspeed of just over 100 knots. Ground speed 108. We want to descend about 700 feet a minute. Next waypoint is 4140. What's interesting is we should get vertical guidance as well, but it's saying once again that we're way over where we should be. Okay, it looks like the airfield actually might be clear. There's a big patch of rain there. The airfield's like there somewhere. A big patch on that side and on that side, but over the actual airport I think we're going to be clear. There's the runway there. Town Hill over here, World's View. There's the Midlands Mall down there. Control now. Runway's already in sight. That rain might be moving over the airport, but it's not the end of the world. gear down. I thought, and weather is moving over the airport, we should be able to just kind of sneak in before it gets too bad. See, it's starting to get rain on the windshield now. Put our passengers down right here at the door. Still need to turn that touchdown sound off in FS Realistic. Okay, if we do this, our FS economy flight should log, and then we can just go ahead and move the helicopter to one of these parkings here. Pretty good timings. The weather is just starting to set in now. Okay, and we can come up top, set these both to idle, and then start switching stuff off. Still on 482 kgs of fuel on board.
How long we have?
There we go. Out into the rain. The last thing we can do is just the batteries off. Okay, well, we would want to go and get inside as quick as possible and not leave the door open in the rain. But anyway, that is going to bring us to the end of another video in the H160. Like I said before, I'm really enjoying this aircraft. It's so cool to fly. So from here we'll see what kind of charter operations we'll be doing around the Durban area. But for now, that is going to bring us to the end of today's episode. It's actually really windy here and the rain is really closing in. Like, that visibility in about 10 minutes or so is going to be full on IMC over the runway here. So it looks like we've made it just in time once again. But anyway, that is going to bring me to the end of this video. As always, if you made it right to the end here, I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy it, you know what to do down below, and hopefully I see you in the next one.